Good morning, Year 8, and Happy New Year. It feels a bit weird to be saying Happy New Year nearly 2 weeks into January, but it's already been quite an eventful and strange year. I hope this assembly finds you and your family well, but I'm aware that it probably finds some of you not in that situation. And so my thoughts are with anyone who has friends or family who are ill at the moment. I hope they get well soon. Today, my assembly is going to be on growing yourself. Now, it's worth mentioning the current times that we're in at the moment, because it can feel quite claustrophobic at the moment with everything that's going on with respects to the pandemic, the fact that everyone is in another lockdown in their homes and we're not together at school. But also, when you look at the news about what's happening in America, things can feel quite uncomfortable. And I think it's really important that you guys keep yourselves informed and that you make sure that being isolated at home doesn't mean that you isolate yourself from what's going on in the outside world. But today, what I want us to do is think about ourselves. This assembly really is about you. And I want us to think about how you can grow yourself and about how you can spend some of the time that you're going to have at home over the next few months in a productive way. So I hope you paused this assembly before I started speaking and you thought about the question that's on your screen right now, which is, what is your happiest memory? And the important thing is to think about it in a great amount of detail. And when I say that, what I mean is I want you to think about your senses when you think about your fondest memory. What are the smells and the tastes that you can see in your mind's eye? What are the colours around you? Who is there? And what are they saying? And it's that level of detail when you think about the questions that I'm going to ask you in today's assembly that will help you to answer questions like, what do you find important? What do you value? How do I get more of what I value? And how do you make yourself happier? Okay, so it's worth me spending a minute or two at least taking you through my memories, okay, and my fondest memories. And I'm going to leave this on the board just for a few seconds or so that you can read yourself the liturgy, which is the standard for all of our assemblies. Okay, and onto my memories. Okay, so what do my fondest memories look like? Well, this is a photo of my daughter and my son. So the older child, Iris, and my son, who is only 3.5 months old now, who is Otis. And so obviously, some of my fondest memories are with my two children. This is a photo of my father and his now wife, and me and my sister. And now my father almost completely single-handedly brought me up from the age of about 6 on his own. And so when I got to be my dad's best man 4 years ago, it was really an honor for me. I was so proud of him. And it was a beautiful day. So I've got a really nice memory of that day. Here's a photo of me being silly with my daughter. I've got a lot of really fond memories of the last 4 years or so with my daughter. Just getting to be a child again is something that I really enjoy. Anyone who knows me really well knows that really I'm just a child in adult's clothing. So I've really enjoyed the last 4 years with Iris. Here's a photo of me with some of my friends. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see me, but I'm right there in the back with some sunglasses and an afro. And that photo is a really nice memory of mine from about 8 years ago. And it might not look like it, but there's 2 people in the middle who are actually getting married. So I'm at the wedding of 2 of my best friends in that photo. And here's a photo of me and my dad outside a building called Senate House in Cambridge. And that's actually the day of my graduation about 12 years ago. And that was a really proud day for my dad, I'm pretty sure. And as a result, I really enjoyed that day. And now, those are just some of my memories, but it's important to know that the whole process of reflecting on your favorite memories, I mean, it's nice and it's really enjoyable to think about times that you were happy and times that you were proud or people were proud of you. But there is an objective. And the objective today, when we think about our happiest memories, is to try to identify the kind of things that we find important in our lives, the kind of things that we value. And when you look at my memories and you look at the screen to see what I value, I think you can pull out a few things quite easily from there. Clearly, family is very important to me. I find my nuclear family, so that's my partner and my children, but not just my nuclear family, my father, my sister, our cousins, all of my aunties and uncles. I think all of those people are really important to me, and my family bonds are, I value them greatly, okay? Also, you can see my friends are here, okay? So clearly, I find my friends important, and my relationship with my friends and the time that I spend with them and their relationships with each other are very important to me as well. So I value those things very greatly. I guess if I was trying to pull even more out of it, there is education locked up in here as well. And education has been a massively important part of my life. My dad was always very educationally minded, and doing well at school was always very important to him. So the day I graduated was a very proud day for him. And if you knew that my sister, I think you might remember, is also a teacher, as well as me being a teacher, clearly it's something that I value very strongly, very greatly. Okay. Now, the idea of this assembly, and I'm going to take you through a number of different activities, okay, is that it should provide you with some activities that you can do either on your own, but ideally with someone else. If you've got a life coach, that would be fantastic, or a mentor. But if you don't, someone that you trust, that you know, that can speak to you in an unbiased way, and that you can be questioned by without feeling uncomfortable. So perhaps a sibling, or a very good friend, or even a parent, okay, then these activities are designed to be done with someone and to help you to identify what's important to you, what you value, also to put those values into kind of levels of importance, and then to figure out what you're doing currently about those things, figure out what you can do, and then come up with a strategy. Figure out what you want to do to try to achieve more. Now, we're going to use something called the GROW model, which is a very popular coaching model. And today, I'm going to talk generally about life. So I'm going to talk about improving your life, finding what you value in your life. But you can apply this quite specifically. So actually, professionals use the GROW model to improve their performance at work and their success at work, okay? But also, you can figure out what your values are, and you can apply these activities to different values individually. So I'm going to take you through an activity where we talk about things that you do that are not in your interest, okay? We're going to talk about, that's part of the reality slide, okay? But you can apply that to your relationships, you can apply it to academia, so that's learning at school. You can apply it to romance. You can apply it to any part of your life or anything that you value, okay? I'm just hoping today that I can take you through some activities that you'll be able to maybe do one or two of them, and that you'll get something out of doing those activities yourselves, okay? So we're going to use the GROW model. We'll start with goals, okay? So the GROW model starts with goals, and the idea is that by doing one of these activities, you can figure out what you value, so what you find important, and you can figure out what you want, okay? So there's 4 possible activities here. You can write yourself a preferred vision. What that means is, I would suggest you think forward, you project yourself forward maybe 5 or 10 years, and you write yourself a vision of who you are 5 or 10 years from now. So that's what you're like, what you're doing, the kind of person that you are being each day, okay? The second activity is called an importance wheel. And I'll show you what the importance wheel looks like. Here's an example, okay? And the idea is that if you draw out a wheel like this, and then you populate it with common values, so things that people find important, these are commonly the things that people find important, and then you rate yourself on each of them on a scale of 10. Now, this isn't my rating, it's just a picture from the internet, but I find, for instance, family and friends are very important to me. So I'd probably rate my family and friends as 10, whereas finances and wealth are not that important to me. And so I'd probably put that, I mean, it is important, but it's not that important. I'd probably put it at 3 or 4, okay? So that's another activity you can do on your own. You can do the ideal day activity, and I'm gonna take you through my ideal day in a minute, so I'm not gonna say any more about that yet. And we've already done activity 4, which is happiest memories, okay? Now, the point of doing these activities is to give you an opportunity to identify what's important to you. So I'm going to tell you about, I'm not going to tell you my exact ideal day, but I'm going to tell you about characteristics of my ideal day. So when I thought about this earlier, I guess the first thing in my head was that the entire day would be completely worry and stress-free. So I wouldn't be worried about what I'm doing. I wouldn't have a timetable of things I was going to do. It would just be a day where I would do everything ad hoc. And when I wake up in the morning, in my mind's eye, I'm in a beautiful place. I might be on a beach, but I'm definitely somewhere that's exotic and the weather is beautiful. And I wake up not to an alarm, but maybe to the sound of the sea. Definitely to a beautiful sunrise and a blue sky. And I've got my family around me. And we sit down for a lovely meal, and there's lots of lovely meals during the day. And I can, when I think about it carefully, I can see the meals and I can smell them and I can taste them, because I think food's really important. It's a really important thing to me. And there are meals throughout the day, and not just with my family, but my friends are there. And I think key parts of it, of my day, are that I'm not worrying about things that I don't find important. So I'm not thinking about how much things cost or what I have, because possessions aren't really that important to me. But I am thinking about the conversations that I have with my friends, feeling like I'm connecting with the people that I value around me. And then my last bullet point says there's music, and there's almost definitely going to be dancing, because I love dancing. Okay, so that's a little bit about my ideal day. And I guess I've already talked about what I value, but it's up to you, I guess, to try to pull out the things that you think that I find important, or what you think I find important from the things that I said and how I got animated during that. Because you'll need to do that for yourselves as well if you're going to do this activity on your own, or you'll need to do it for someone else if you're a good friend to someone and you want to take them through these activities. Okay, so the idea is, at this stage, you've now got some things that you value, you've figured out some things that you find important, and then we go to the next stage, which is the reality. So reality is about not about what you value, but it's about where you are right now. So those things that you find important, for me, my friends and my family, where am I now with my friends and my family? And so there's 3 activities on the board that you can do. And so those activities are, you can identify 10 things that you know are not in your best interest, but that it doesn't stop you from doing them, okay? I'm going to take you through that one, because I've written down some things that I do that I know are not in my best interests. The second one is to identify 10 things that people around you, your friends and your family, would say about you, both good and bad, okay? And the third thing is trying to identify the conversations that you always seem to have with yourself. So that means when you're kind of going along your kind of daily routine, are there things that you always seem to be thinking about? Are there always opinions that you seem to be having? Okay, that can be opinions about yourself, about life, about the people around you. And then getting down to the idea that of whether those things are real or whether they're just opinions that you have. Okay. Now, I think all of those are really important. The last one is quite challenging. I wouldn't expect anyone to be capable of doing that on their own. I think it really requires someone else. But I did the first activity and I didn't do 10 things. I don't want to tell you about all of the things that I do that aren't particularly good for me, but I did write down some of the things that I do that I wish I did less of. So the first one I've got is playing Xbox. So I'm not going to lie, I love playing Xbox. I do. I got the new Xbox not that long ago. It's made my quality of life playing computer games a lot better. But there are things that I really value and find important in my life that I don't spend a lot of time doing, that I could spend more time doing if I didn't play so much Xbox. So that's the first on my list. The second one is I spend too much time on my phone. What are my main troubles on the phone? I do too much online shopping and I am on social media far too much. And what that means is I have less time to do things like be in contact with my friends face to face or really speaking to them rather than just text messaging them thinking that I'm in contact with them. And so I'd like to spend less time on my phone. The third thing that I know I am or that I do, I'm slightly obsessive about possessions. So trainers is probably the best example I can think of off the cuff. I don't like my trainers getting dirty. I get really annoyed when people step on my trainers. Even if it's by accident, I get really stressed out. And it's completely unnecessary because all I do is I take them home and I clean them in a really fastidious way. Okay, so that's something that all it does is it provides stress to me. It probably stresses out the people around me as well, completely unnecessary. So I wish I did that less. And then the last thing I've got is that I correct people all the time. Now, I mean, you guys know that I correct people all the time because I'm your teacher and I'm your head of year. But I do it even when I'm not teaching, and it's annoying. Not just for other people. I find it annoying when I do it for other people. But it feels like a reflex, but I can stop myself from doing it if I'm thoughtful and I'm careful. So I need to do that less. Okay, so that's an example of the kind of things you might write down. Okay, and to give you an idea of where you're at now. Okay, what the reality is in relation to the things that you value. Okay, and then the next step is about your options. And so it's going to be thinking about what you could do to move yourself forwards, to make progress with respect to the things that you value. So for me, if I value my relationships with my family and friends, then what I should be doing is I should be thinking about what options are available to me to improve my relationship with my friends and family. So the activities that you can do, number one, it says, what are you not committed to only because you believe that it can't be done by you? So that's a bit of a weird sentence, but what it wants you to do is identify some things that you say that you would like to do, but that you don't really do because you think you're not capable of it. That's like real blue sky stuff. That's like, really, I would like to be a professional footballer. And I talk about it a lot and I play a load of FIFA, but actually, because I can't be bothered to get out of bed on Saturday and Sunday and go to training, really, I'm never going to be a footballer. Okay. Now that's just an example, but it could be anything. It might be the fact that actually you're interested in being a leader, and actually you're going to get an opportunity to be a leader at school when we're back in school and get elected to a senate of sorts where you get to make decisions about what happens at school. Okay. Now, the key is, I guess, is that a lot of people want to be a leader, but not a lot of people end up leading because it takes quite a lot of effort. You have to put yourself outside of your comfort zone to become a real leader. And so this is about blue skies. What kind of things do you think about doing? Do you see people on TV and on the internet and you go, wow, I'd really like to be that person or to do what that person does, but then you just kind of don't really do anything about it. Okay. Number 2 says, what would you be committed to accomplishing only if it were possible for you? And that is a very similar question to question 1. So it works in a very similar way. Number 3 is about identifying 10 things you say, if only I had something, then I'd be able to. Yeah. So I'll give you an example of that one. My favorite is, if only I had more time, then I would speak to my friends more. Okay. Now the point of that, if you can identify lots of things, people say, if only I had more money, if only I had more friends, if only I knew the right people, then I would. Those questions are about figuring out barriers that you can remove. So if you say, if only I had more time, typically what happens, or what you can do, is you can say, I'm going to spend less time playing Xbox, therefore I'm going to have more time to do that thing that I said I can't do. Okay? And then number 4, in terms of options, is about speaking to someone who could act as either a coach or a mentor. Now, some of you are probably lucky enough to already have a coach or a mentor, but if you don't, ask. Speak to someone, an adult that you know, and say that actually you would like someone to talk to about these kinds of questions. Okay. Now, what do I have for this activity? So for this one, I actually did the if only I had. Okay. So the 3 ones that I wrote down when I did that activity, I wrote down 10, but I'm only telling you 3, were, if I had more time, then I would speak to my friends more. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you about a target I'm going to make in relation to that, because that's just a rubbish one, really, because I've got loads of time. Okay. The second one is, if I had more money, then I'd go on more holidays. I mean, a simple one, that one, really. My partner always goes on more holidays than me, and she has the same money as me. So that one's just a rubbish excuse. And then the last one is, if I had more patience, then I'd learn a musical instrument. And I'm committed to getting rid of that barrier. I want to play an instrument, so I'm going to do it. And I need to stop putting patience as a barrier, because patience is just about me, isn't it? Okay. So we've done goals, we've done reality, and we've done options. Okay. Now the last one is about doing something. So it's like, what are you going to do? It's will. Okay. This is the hardest one. This is the hardest one to be really to really check yourself on, to be fair. And so it's simple. What I want you to do, either on your own or with someone else, is to set a SMART target. What a SMART target is it's something that's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's relevant, and it's time bound. So I'm going to tell you one of the SMART targets that I set myself when I did this activity last week, okay? And I'm going to explain how it's a SMART target, okay? So I've talked a lot about my friends and family, haven't I, and the relationships that I have with them, and I don't spend enough time talking to them. I'm quite introspective sometimes, and I kind of get caught up in myself. So the target I set myself was, every day I'm going to contact a friend I haven't spoken to in more than 1 month. And I'm going to do that for at least 1 month. So every day I'm going to get in contact with someone that I haven't spoken to in more than 1 month. Okay. And that's specific because I've said exactly what I have to do each day. Okay. It's measurable. So I can go back and I can see if I spoke to someone 7 days for all 7 days in the last week. It's definitely achievable. I mean, I've got the internet, I've got social media, I've got a phone, and hopefully soon I'll be able to exercise with someone that I know, perhaps. Is it relevant? Yes, because I've talked about friends and family being important to me, and therefore it's relevant to my values. And is it time bound? It is definitely time bound. I said I'm going to do it for a month. I said I'm going to get in contact with lots of different people. I've been doing it for, it's Wednesday today, so I've been doing it, I've done it for 6 days, and I've got in contact with someone that I haven't spoken to in more than a month for the last 6 days. And it's been really nice. I really like speaking to people that that are my friends and that are my family, and catching up with them and finding out what they've been doing. I mean, no one's been doing that much, to be fair, but it's still nice to check in with people and just make sure that they know that I'm still here and I'm still thinking about them, because it's nice to know that people are thinking about you. Okay, so that's it, really. There's kind of 4 parts to it. And if you try even one of these activities, I would be really happy. And the idea is that it's about you figuring out what makes you happy, and then figuring out what you can do, what you're already doing about it, and then what you can do perhaps to feel like you're achieving more happiness, but achieving more in relation to what you find important. Okay, so even if you do one of these activities, I'll be really happy. But if you can find someone to do them with as well, then if you can work your way through G, R, O, and then set yourself some targets with W, then you might find that actually all of that time that you spend in lockdown, you're not bored, and actually you've got loads of stuff that you can be doing. If you'd like to speak about this more, I'd love to hear from you guys in messages. Please feel free to send me any questions, and ask your guardians as well, okay? Because I'm going to share this assembly with them. Okay, have a great week, guys. Bye.